We're back.
I got a chip in.
We are back. There's still people waiting for us. I can't believe it. 9 hours later.
9 hours in, baby.
Later.
Well, some people are in for the long haul.
SpongeBob episode.
Wow.
9 hours later. Joining us coming from Washington, D.C., big on Instagram.
Yeah, huge.
Known as Whiskey Library DC. Brian and Tim, we're going to talk about, they do a lot of picking out of their own barrels or their own single barrel whiskeys from many different
I'm intrigued already. That's a good sentence.
They organize a lot of tastings in the DC area. But Brian and Tim, you're here. Go ahead and introduce yourself and let the people know who you are.
I'm Tim Mall, one half of the Whiskey Library.
I'm Brian Thompson, the other half. So we're here in DC, I think the new mecca for whiskey, up and coming. There's just a ton of stuff. Everybody obviously knows about Jack Rose, but there are a ton of whiskey bars and a ton of whiskey fans and whiskey lovers here in the DC area. So we're happy to be part of that whiskey community here.
Yeah, so we were born and raised in the area, went away for a little while, ended up finding our way back, in 2007 to 2010 for each of us, and discovered that we each had a good passion for whiskey and decided to try and make something of it. And starting in 2014, we started doing some whiskey and food pairing events, and it's only grown from there. And we've had an opportunity to really share our love with a lot of equally passionate whiskey folks here in the city, and have had a great time doing it. And we're lucky to have a lot of people who have been along for the ride.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Now, were you guys friends before that, or did you go back a ways?
Yeah. So I think we started going to school together in 7th grade.
Oh, really?
So by 8th grade, we figured out we liked whiskey. And
how old were you?
Yeah, look at that.
Just going different directions after high school to each find a passion. So Tim kind of dove into the single malts, into the scotches. And I found a passion in bourbon and rye. And then when we kind of found our way back to DC, a couple years apart, it was just meant to be really at that point in terms of bringing the Scotch side and the American side together and just being able to kind of go and run the gamut with it.
Absolutely. It worked out really well because, Brian and I enjoyed whiskey together, but we also realized that we wanted to drink with other people as well. And so we thought, what better way than to try and educate other folks as to why we enjoy it so much and bring them into the fold. We've had some great success with that. We've got a couple people who blame us, if you will, for their obsession with whiskey now.
Yeah.
So,
we have, that's why we have that liability waiver. We can't assume,
yes.
we assume no responsibility.
Yeah, we're the dummies. We didn't know you were going to like whiskey. Well, we knew.
Yeah, so it's been a real blast. Brian and I have a great time doing this.
Hey, a couple things real quick on our end for people that are watching. Yep. We don't have them in stock. We're not wearing them, but there is a 12 Hours of Boom t-shirt that's available for a limited time on the website. If you're interested, scotchtestdummies.com, go check that out. Right. We also have a new page up there under the events tab for our 5-year anniversary that's coming up in October. Check that out. There's a lot of information.
There'll be a little whiskey gathering right here in Wichita.
So back to Brian, and also I'm going to change right there. Boom. There's Cousin Shane sitting there.
Look at that.
You're muted.
No.
Well, they might have heard you.
The mute button. It's a killer.
And Shakes Pennington just got here.
That's right.
Maybe we'll have some music by the end of this show. Pizza is ordered.
That's what I was going to say.
Here sometime.
The dog, also known as Chupacabra, which you're in the background because the musicians are here. When the doorbell's rung, there'll be some shenanigans going on.
There could be.
There'll be craziness.
So, that is our pizza. We need it because we are
sustenance
into our 9th hour.
So let's turn the show back over, and you guys tell us what we've got here, and we're going to pour them at the same time.
Perfect. So I think on your far right, my left, is the WhistlePig. Okay, other way. Right? No, is that right?
Yep.
We got the pig. We'll start with the pig.
And so we'll start with that. So what we did here is we had the unique opportunity to go up to WhistlePig farm up in Vermont and blend our own 12-year-old world. So the Old World is a blend of three different ryes three ryes that are finished in different wine casks. So you have a Madeira, a Sauterne, and a port. And so the typical 12-year is 63%, 63% Madeira. And so we kept that the same. So what you have in your hand should still be 63% Madeira, and then threw in 20% port and 17% Sauternes. And so what we did there is we essentially reversed what WhistlePig had done, and WhistlePig had lowered the port in their standard offering to 7%. And so we upped it to what we thought was the max of 20%, and then filled the rest in with Sauterne. So it's a great side-by-side.
Yeah, and we really think the Madeira component in there is really what makes this whiskey. You get some really nice orange, kind of rind, orange zest type flavors coming in from those Madeira casks, as you're probably aware of having drunk that, with other whiskeys. But that's really kind of the standout feature, and obviously the port gives it a little bit more of a desserty taste, makes it a little bit richer, and I think it marries together very, very nicely.
Very nice.
It's got the rye is very present on the nose.
We got a little cowbell coming in.
Yeah, real quick.
Tom R, baby.
Tom R.
Been
Still
with
here
us
with
the
us.
whole time.
Been here since. Hush.
Yep. Chupacabra's seeing the guitarist. What?
Go get in the kennel. Kennel.
We told you shenanigans at this level. She'll settle.
Okay.
All right, let's try it. I get a lot of floral notes.
When we were talking last night, though, we did a test run, and what kind of surprised me, what I didn't know, outside of going and even picking out a single barrel and working with a distillery, is I'm sure you couldn't do this with every distillery, but WhistlePig lets you say, well, we don't, we want to create our own mash bill here, basically. Yeah, maybe it's you guys.
Yeah, you guys are special.
But you say, hey,
I like to think we're special, but they do offer. It is a program that they do offer to other people as well. It is limited. I think that they offer the two programs right now, which is the barrel pick. So that's the 10-year bottled at barrel proof, and then this 12-year Old World, where you get to kind of blend your own. There are some limits that they impose. I think just basically based on percentages. On the percentages, you can't go above a certain amount or below a certain amount. But I think what we didn't find that to be prohibitive at all. In fact, it probably helped. Otherwise, we would still be in Vermont trying to figure out what the blend should be.
Cool.
Because it was definitely a fun process. And
we got out the test tubes and started pouring 3 milliliters of this, 5 milliliters of that, 2 milliliters of the other, trying to figure out that exact percentage. So it was going back to a high school science class that Brian and I remember together. Yeah. But this time it was actually with something much more enjoyable, which was whiskey.
I know it's got a great both the wine finishes between the port and the Madeira are combining. Some rye, you're getting that usual orange zest, some different creams that's been replaced by the combination of the wines in there, and a nice sweetness that's coming in with the rye.
And I get like a little bit of that brown sugar finish too.
Yeah. And I think it's the finish that I was really a fan of when we picked this one out. I think that's what lowering the Sauterne percentage to me is really what allowed that in increasing the port. I really think the port allows this expression to sing a little bit more. And then from our perspective, also kind of on the library side of the whiskey library, we keeping that Madeira at the same 63% as the standard offering is a great teaching tool as to show what small percentage differences do, right? You're dealing with the two minor expressions or finishes in this whiskey. 63% has not changed. So kind of just showcasing what you do when you flip the other two is a great side-by-side for tastings and just kind of people to really be able to educate themselves on it.
Well, yeah, I guess I was speaking wrong because I was thinking it was just the port and the Sauternes, but yeah, then the rest of it's Madeira. So it's really there's 3 different wine cask finish.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and anybody who hasn't been up there, we highly recommend making it up to their farm. They have a world-class experience up there. They treat you like royalty. So we had nothing but the best, for them, for that experience.
Do you guys want to talk about, so how much does that cost then? You go up there and you do this, and how many bottles do you get?
Or even just a ballpark?
Sure. So, I mean, the cost varies, I think, depending on what it is you're trying to do and how many people you bring up. I think what you do when you do the 12-year, you get, I think it's 22 six-packs. It's 22 times 6, 132.
Yeah.
So 132 bottles. So not cheap by any means. I think that's really kind of what you're buying and where a lot of the cost comes into it. But with that said, that kind of leads to the other point of why we started doing single barrel picks or trying to find unique expressions of whiskey, and that's because we wanted to bring unique whiskey to the DC area and to all of the enthusiasts here. So we don't have a set group of people who get all the bottles and it's only for us. Instead, we partner with a retailer here in DC as well as a bunch of bars, and so our WhistlePig pick can be found at Civil Lounge up in Northwest, Bourbon up on 18th Street. Just down the street from them is Rebellion. So it's at Rebellion, and then a couple cases are at Field Lamar.
And obviously, it went through Magruder's. Here downtown. They were a retail partner for this, and they have been for all of our whiskeys that have come through up to this point. So we've been very lucky to have both on and off-prem accounts who've been really supportive of these single casks and blends that we've been able to bring to the region.
Yeah. So take, like, say the WhistlePig, then you got 132 bottles. How many are spoken for by you guys and your friends right up front? And then how many are going up for sale through your partners?
I would say maybe with like 40. Maybe our closest group took maybe 30 to 40 of them, leaving 90 to 100 bottles still out there.
Yeah. And so I think we took 6. I took 6.
Yeah, we each took a case.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
That's good. I like the sound of that. I took a case.
That's the benefit for doing this, right?
That is perfect. Now, how many are left in the case?
Of my case, I think that's 2 left.
Yeah, we've all got 3 left or so. But as far as all the other ones, they sold out within the first couple weeks.
Sure. All right, which way are we steering?
Do you guys want to look at the? I didn't know if we wanted to do all 3 or not. You want to do the? You guys did a line in distilling rum.
We're happy to go with the rum if that's where you want to go.
Yes, pour just a little bit. I want to try.
Just take a look at it, a quick look, maybe.
Maybe I'll sniff at it.
So this is kind of another kind of unique opportunity we got. So there's a distillery up at St. Michael's called Lion Distilling, and they're a little craft distillery doing some amazing rums. We got the opportunity to work with them a couple years ago when we did a tasting with America Eats here in DC. They're part of the Jose Andres group, and they crafted a whiskey for us, or crafted a rum for us. I think it was their rum. We had them finish their overproofed rum in a French oak cask. And so we went back to them with this random concept of saying, we really like your rum and we really like your rye. Could we switch them out though? And what I mean by that is we took a 5-gallon barrel of rye and we took a 5-gallon barrel of rum. Each have been aged for, I think, just about a year.
Yeah, very small casks, mind you, so it doesn't require a lot of time.
Yeah, and so what we then did is we just said, switch them. So they dumped the rye, they dumped the rum, they put the rum back into the rye barrel and the rye back into the rum barrel. And so we've got a rye whiskey aged in rum barrels, and we've got a rum finished in rye. And so that's what you guys have. We sent you over the rum simply because I think it really sings.
It does, and it's interesting. It's got like this burst right up front. It's just bursting, and then it twists me a little bit because there are those rye notes,
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's the beauty of this one. So I also caution this is 120 proof.
Ooh.
So it's not for the faint of heart by any means.
I like it.
So it's definitely a high proof rum, but I think throwing it into the rye barrels for, I feel like it was in there for about 5 or 6 months, maybe longer.
I think that's about right.
Yeah, and it really lends that upfront spice and that kind of pop.
Yes.
And then the back end is where you get kind of those sweet, sugary rum components. So it finishes really sweet, but from the nose to the palate is all, you wouldn't know you're drinking a rum.
Right. I agree. And it's like this explosion and then immediately settles down. And then like you're saying, it finishes off smooth and sugary sweet.
Yeah. So it's just it's another unique opportunity that, we were given, and we ran with it. I mean, why not, right?
Well, and that's what we really enjoy doing. We love taking advantage of the abundance of distilleries in the DC region. St. Michael's, Maryland is a couple hours away, but we have lots of other distilleries, including 1-8, here in the district, with whom we've had some great partnerships and have ongoing projects. And that's what we really enjoy about being located here in the district is being able to avail ourselves of those different distilleries, and going a little bit farther afield up to St. Michael's is a pretty good deal to be able to source a tasty treat like this one that we have in front of us.
It's nice. And it looks like you got a fan on here. We got a super chat.
Little cowbell.
Yeah, a little cowbell. $2. Tonight's Poison says, "What's up, DC boys? Good to see you on."
Hey.
Oh, boy.
What's up, buddy?
Pizza.
That might be the pizza.
Pizza's here.
Yep. So let's see. Yep, we're going to have craziness ensuing for a little bit here.
Yep.
There's nobody up there to calm the old chupacabra down.
We couldn't order pizza and have it delivered in our 15-minute break.
Right. Well, what we need is a drone.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need drone delivery.
Yeah. It's coming.
It is. I can't wait. I cannot wait for the drone delivery.
I did drones in Kansas. I don't think we're going to be DC's not getting drones anytime soon.
Yeah.
Not that deliver pizza, at least.
Good point. There's probably drones in your area.
Not a big rum person, but that's pretty tasty, and it's pretty. That's a high ABV for a rum as well. But yeah, almost a whiskey sweet rye just on the front. It's not very long for me because the rum and the sweetness starts to kick in.
But you don't like overly sweet rums, and that's not overly sweet, which is the nice thing.
It's pretty obvious that's a rum, though.
Sure, but it's not like that syrup.
Yeah. Well, and Lime Distilling, rum is their wheelhouse. This is what they were, born to do over there. This is their base product, and so that's why we feel like we've been able to have such a kicking bottle here. One that really sings, like you said.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, now walking us in this beautiful. I love Kilkerran. So we're going to see here. Talk to us about this a bit.
Yeah. So Kilkerran, this was our first project. This was, Whiskey Library's first single cask pick, and it was one that I was very blessed with the opportunity to go and help select from the distillery on Islay. So,
yes,
just completed a walk across England, and we finished up with a week up in Scotland, and part of that entailed catching a little puddle jumper flight over to Islay, and meeting with the great folks over at Kilkerran on the west side of the Isle, and got a first class tour and just a really exclusive experience. Finished off with a trip through the warehouse, sampling some of their casks, and bringing back the top 4 samples to drink with Brian and our other partner Robert, who couldn't be with us here this afternoon. And it was something I had my mind made up before I came back from Scotland. But both Robert and Brian really had their heart set on the other direction. So we had quite a discussion on which bottle to go with, whether to go with a Kilhoman that was kind of in line with people's expectations, people who were familiar with Kilhoman, or whether it was one that you wanted to be unique, one that would be special even for people who are familiar with Kilhoman. And I was there on the former when I came back from Scotland, but we ended up going with the latter.
Really?
Because when you have an opportunity to do a single cask, why not pick one that nobody else can do? And that's what we feel like we've ended up with here in this one. It still has the sweet peat, trademark of Kilhoman that you're familiar with and that you love. But it's got, a lot of complexity going on there as well. And at the time, it was one of the older releases that had made it to market about 6 years, I think.
Yeah, 6 years.
Yeah, a little over 6 years. Let us know what you think. What are you getting on that?
Yeah, I definitely get that sweet peat right off the top. You're just going yum and a warmingness. And then I get at the end, I get like little hints of cinnamon. And then in the middle there, I get, and this is weird, maybe it's just me, I get like little bits of what I think are like baked biscuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Well, and I agree with you. I can't say you're right, but
sure.
Another thing that stood out for us was like marzipan in here. Really kind of came through as well, kind of the almond, taste type flavor.
Yeah, I remember when we were tasting it, I got a lot of cotton candy. I think on the back palate of it as well. And Tim alluded to the fact that it was this long conversation and this back and forth. I just want to highlight that conversation spanned, I want to say almost 3 weeks, like 2 to 3 weeks.
Really?
Back and forth and back and forth. And Tim was very lucky to bring back some samples. I want to say they were a little less than 100 mils. So our tasting over 3 weeks was just little by little. And
it was mostly conversation after the first taste.
It was mainly argument after the first taste. There's a lot of yelling and a lot of like, how are we going to do this and what are we doing? But we're really proud with the product. I don't think we could have gone wrong with any of them, frankly. But like Tim said, we're really, really proud of this one as a Kilhoman that kind of stands out from the crowd.
Yeah, beautiful nose on it.
I get Pete.
You get Pete. He gets Pete.
Scott,
now that you say it, I get it too.
I don't know about smoked biscuits.
Oh, no, baked
biscuits, and all that cotton candy.
Oh, a little cinnamon at the end. You get a little spark.
Yeah, I got some cinnamon.
And it's a warm, sweet peat. What are you doing? You drink it. Quit nosing it.
Yeah, and you guys are you're kind of dancing around a little bit on it, but Wally Scotch and Sniff, you guys did an interview with him on his YouTube channel, and you were like, Tim brought back several samples from Scotland. You guys got together, you hashed it down to two over the course of a couple of weeks. You guys hashed it down to a couple of picks.
Yep.
And then you met back again, and it still took you another 2 or 3 weeks of this going back and forth of you guys and trying to pick out for sure which one you wanted.
That is good.
Well, I mean, I think like Tim said, this was our first one, and we had never done it. It was, I can tell you that, when we buy barrels of Elijah Craig, WhistlePig, the Lion stuff, the bottle of, the barrel of Jack, all of this stuff, we've had a blast with all of them. The first one out of the gate being a single Scotch, it's an expensive proposition as your first one. And, to partner with, a retail store for the first time, to have bars for the first time, it was kind of one of those where we knew if this was a dud, we could never do another one again.
No dud.
Fighting and arguing only because we wanted to make sure that whatever we picked was dead on. And, again, I think it paid off. I think everybody loves it. We're proud of this one. It went out to a lot of bars. I mean, Bourbon, Jack Rose picked it up. I think they're out of it now, but I mean, it's a tasty treat for sure.
And we had a real good response from the community here in DC. A lot of really well-respected whiskey connoisseurs were really praising this bottle, and that meant a lot to us. But really the most exciting thing is when we were tasting, we were writing our own tasting notes. And, you know, when we get the bottle, their master distiller over there, you know, he puts his own tasting notes on every single cask bottle, and his notes were almost exactly in line with what we had put together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we actually may know a little bit about what we're doing over here.
Yeah.
We didn't share any of our thoughts with him prior, so
yeah, it was the best compliment we could have gotten. Of, you know, our little chicken scratch was actually
on point.
On point for once.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. It's the smoked. It's like a smoked peated. Well, it's going to sound stupid, but that peated barley, that gentle, like a brown sugar peat smoke coming through, because it's so sweet on the taste as that peat smoke just kind of rolls in. Maybe like a touch of brine. I'm trying to get mid palate. I love that open. The mid, and then the finish is just that long, lingering, smooth. It's not quite pipe tobacco, but it's this smooth smoke. Give us some of your notes that you had on it.
Oh gosh, yeah. We go back. I don't have my notes in front of me here, but I'm going to see off of the back of the bottle because I told you ours were in line with his. You know, got caramel, you know, butterscotch, gosh, you know, some of that tropical fruit, you know, marzipan stuff that we were talking about. You know, things that really came through for us.
Yeah, I think one of the fun things about this is, you know, Tim snapped some pictures of the different barrels, and so through some sleuthing and detective work, we figured out it was a Blanton's barrel. So this was aged for 6 years in an ex-Blanton's barrel, and the tie-in with that was remarkable. But I think the tasting notes, at least from Robert's perspective, and I think mine, one of the reasons we were trying to convince Tim, at least initially, to go in this direction was we thought that this was kind of the perfect marriage of how the whiskey library started off, in terms of Tim's love of you know, malted barley and my appreciation for bourbon and the sweetness. This was kind of, you know, Kilkerran does sweet peat perfectly. We're not going to compete with that at all when we do a single barrel. I mean, they have that, but this sweetness was more in line with that caramel. That I mean, what you get off of a Blanton's, right? I mean, it's a bourbon drinker's peated whiskey, if there ever was one.
Yeah, that's
it's very nice. The sweetness that comes through with that, and I got a nice tobacco, cigar tobacco with it as well.
Yeah. No, we got a lot of pipe tobacco in it during our tasting notes as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's a very good pick for sure. And 59.2%. It's a 6 year.
Yeah.
Now, how many bottles did you get from this single cask, and what was, say, the cost difference between picking an Elijah Craig, bringing this in from Scotland with imports and all that?
222, I think.
Yeah, I think Brian's got it right. Yeah, we'll never forget that.
Yeah, I'll never forget that number. 222 bottles. I think the retail price was 110.
What we got, I mean, right? Do you want to go? I mean, the wholesale cost
was 90.
I think it was
88.
80 pre-tax was this one, and with Elijah, it's roughly 25.
Wow.
And, you know, over 3x on the cost associated with that. So we were taking a much bigger risk with this than with some of our, you know, more recent bourbon and rye picks that we've done. So that's why so much thought went into it, so much, you know, so much heartache if we look back at it. But it was certainly all paid off on the back end.
So is that the only Scotch that you've done then, or have you done other Scotches since?
Scotch that we've done so far.
That has come to market so far.
So obviously we talked about Compass Box earlier. That's obviously Scotch whiskey. So there's some of that coming through, but it's not going to be a single cask, single malt, obviously. But you know, we do have some on the horizon that we're hoping to take advantage of.
Yeah, but that Compass Box should be here in DC, I think, in early September. Yeah. And so what that was is that we were given, again, a great opportunity pick a Marion cask. And so I know Brett was on early with you guys, and so we partnered up with Brett, Scotch Trooper. We stand with Trooper, and so yeah, we worked out some tasting notes with him. Sample bottles went around, and we both agreed on I guess it was an artist blend. It was the Great King Street artist blend that they had then thrown into a ex-French oak barrel for another 2 years. And so that's what's getting bottled up now. And
but we hope to do some other scotches, in the near future as well.
Good.
Very nice.
I was surprised. The Kilkerran, I had wondered, how a Scotch doing a single barrel, bringing that into the country differed over a bourbon. So that's good to see that. I mean, that's a lot of money going from $25 a bottle roughly to $80. So
the time horizon is a big change as well.
Yeah.
Elijah Craig, you can do within a couple months. Just the time to ship this over from Scotland was that in and of itself, plus all of the time, for them to bottle it, get all the marketing materials and whatnot prepared. So that was at least a 7-8 month project.
Well, I mean, once
we picked the bottle.
Yeah. Because we picked our first Elijah Craig in between.
Yeah.
So we had already picked the Kilkerran. We thought the Kilkerran would be landing, in the fall of whatever year it was, 2016.
Yeah.
And so that early fall, we picked a single barrel of Elijah Craig, and then they both ended up on our doorsteps, I think, within 2 days of one another.
Wow.
Talk about trying to push some product.
Yeah.
So now I know, like some of the bourbon distilleries, when you buy a single barrel, you get not only the bottles, but you get the barrel as well.
Absolutely. So for all of our bourbons, we have gotten the barrel. The only two picks that we've done, the WhistlePig, WhistlePig doesn't give out their barrels, and then Kilkerran. The problem with that was something about, I think it was like Food and Drug Administration, where because it originated in the United States and was used in the United States and then exported, they couldn't re-import it back. So we lost out on that opportunity. But we do have, but we did get 2 barrels of the Elijah Craig, and then the barrel of the Jack got delivered with them. And so we partnered with some local breweries. And so one of our barrels of Elijah Craig is with Jailbreak Brewing out of Laurel, Maryland. And so I just dropped the Jack barrel off a few weeks ago with them. And so they've put, we're making kind of a beer that's going to taste a little bit like an old fashioned with the Elijah Craig. I trust them full-heartedly. I don't know the first thing about brewing, but they seem to have an idea behind it, and so we let them run with it. With the Jack, we ended up tasting a few different stouts that had already been barrel-aged and are actually going to be finished in the Jack barrel. And so the fun part with that is we tasted, I want to say it was about 8 or 9 different barrel-aged stouts. One tasted like cherry Coke. We all looked at one another and we said, there's only one thing that goes really well with cherry Coke, and that's Jack Daniels. So we're going to make like a Jack and Coke beer. We hope to have that here in the next couple months. So it'll be fun.
And let's not forget about the first Elijah barrel that we had coming in. We gave that to Right Proper Brewery here in DC as well. And they made a fantastic small release batch for us. I believe it was called the Baron Elijah, based off of their Baron Corvo beer. And we had a really great time one evening, a release party over at their brewery. Had a bunch of our supporters out there for it, and it was great to do a side-by-side of their normal Baron Corvo along with the Baron Elijah, which had spent, what was it, 5 or 6 months in the bourbon barrel, and just the way it picked up those sweet notes coming from the bourbon barrel really just, amplified that beer and made it something really special.
Very good.
Cool.
Oh,
we should get a little bit of music in, I think.
Our musicians are here. You guys got time for a song?
Let's do it.
All right, we're going to take them off.
We got a good one for
you're
all you
muted.
fellas talking about making your own.
You're muted.
I think you unmuted.
I unmuted.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Let's lock them on.
Yep.
All right.
Can you guys hear him?
Not yet.
There we go.
Three old little youngs live down a dirt road. Made homemade wine like nobody I know. Stopped by one Friday night, said, "Can you help me, Creole? Got a little girl waiting on me and I wanna treat her right. I got what you need, son. It's sitting down in the cellar." Reached through a cobweb and he turned on the light and said, "Might be a little dust on the bottle, but don't let it fool you about what's inside. There might be a little dust on the bottle. It's one of those things that gets sweeter with time." She was sitting on the porch swing as I pulled up the driveway. Old heart was racing as she climbed inside. Went over real close and then we drove down to the lake road. Watched the sun fade in that big red sky. Reached under the front seat, I said, "I hear something special. Just been waiting for a night like tonight. Oh, might be a little dust on the bottle. Don't let it fool you about what's inside. There might be a little dust on the bottle. It's one of those things that gets sweeter with time." Now you're still with me. We make some memories. After all these years, there's just one thing I found. Some say good love, it's like a fine wine, keeps getting better as the days go by. Might be a little dust on the bottle. Don't let it fool you about what's inside. There might be a little dust on the bottle, but it's one of those things that gets sweeter with time. There might be little dust on the bottle. Don't let it fool you about what's inside. There might be little dust on the bottle, but it's one of those things that gets sweeter with time.
Woohoo!
Elijah!
That was actually good timing on the song because right as soon as you guys started, the pizza man showed up. Dog started barking.
That's right.
So we got pizza now.
That's it.
That WhistlePig will go great with pizza. You're not lying.
Well, I'll tell you, as we're sitting here, man, that Kilkerran, the Pete is just. I mean, I would be drinking more, but we've got to watch what we're doing here.
You guys have had a few already.
No, yeah, well, yeah.
We're parsing.
Well, I mean, what's your? I'll tell you, of these three, that Kilkerran is. I mean, that'd be my pick of the three. All good.
What a great
wow.
opener. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
that was
guys
a good
killed
one.
it.
We're big fans of that bottle as well. So
What's
Yes, big fans. They're big
first one
fans.
always holds a special place in your heart. So we're big fans of that one too.
Yeah.
Well, let's do, we got a couple coins to give away. And what we usually do is you guys will pick like a bit of trivia and maybe something you just covered. And you can put that out. And then whoever answers first is going to win just a little bit of swag from the show. Do you guys have anything that would be a good trivia question?
We just went over. Sure. I mean, we can ask what was the percentage of port that we chose for the WhistlePig?
Ooh. Let's find out who was.
Let's find out who was actually paying attention. Or ask another question.
Good question.
First person to get
We're
gets
watching.
coin. Gorski.
Yep, Gorski.
Got it right. 20% port. He got coin 329.
Number 329.
Boom.
Gorski gave us a little morning surprise, too, as a Patreon supporter. 329. Gorski's got it. Beautiful.
Shoot us if you didn't put your address on Patreon. Shoot us an email at scotchtestdummies@gmail.com.
And we may give us their address so we can get them their cards and everything. And then
20% port.
So
Now we need a
329.
Patreon for coin 329.
Yes, we do. Go ahead.
Wait, that's Gorski.
Yep, that's
330.
Gorski's.
330 for Patreon.
So go ahead and you can run your I haven't gotten any notifications.
Hey Siri, generate a random number between 1 and 104.
Random number between 1 and 104 is 73.
73. Who does that roll up to? This will be coin 329.
Just Richard. We'll have to look up
Richard
and
All
his email address and let him know.
There's a bunch of Richards out there that are like, that could be me.
Mm-hmm. But we've got your address, email
it.
address, Richard, so we will let you know.
That's right. We will follow up. Awesome. All right. Well, put out, how can people find you? All your Instagram or whatever you've got going on social media wise.
Sure. So we're on Instagram at Whiskey Library DC, all one word now. We dropped the underscores, so it's all just whiskey with an E, Library DC, and then online we're at whiskeylibrarydc.com. So that's it. If you want to email us directly, it's Tim at whiskeylibrarydc.com, Brian at whiskeylibrarydc.com. Happy to answer questions, anything that comes up.
And if you're in DC or plan to come to DC, don't hesitate to drop us a line. We'd love to meet up. Doesn't have to be for an event. We love to just meet up with whiskey lovers and just socialize. So
beautiful.
Drop us a line.
Awesome.
Daniel Whiskey Throttle is asking if he's won anything. No, Daniel, you haven't won anything all day.
See, he missed out on a few shows, so he wanted to know. We know Daniel.
Yeah.
Right. He's not just being mean to him. Well, awesome. All right. Well, all beautiful. I already love Kilhoman. Boy, do I love this. So I know that was magic in a bottle. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
So do you guys still have bottles of that
I bet
available somewhere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Send us an email.
Yeah, you can send us an email. There's I think a handful left right around town. So shoot us an email. We'll be sure to be able to get you a bottle.
Now, hold on.
Bart started to laugh at me.
Well, no, just to clarify for all those people that want to go get one of those bottles, they're out of at least one of them. Don't go buy them all out now. All right. No, thanks, guys. Scotch It.
Absolutely. Thanks for the forum today. We appreciate you having us on.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks for joining us. And hang on.
It.
Yep.
You Scotch gods.
Cilantro. Dummies.
Dummies!
Still